Have you ever wondered why some people seem to build wealth effortlessly while others struggle for decades? It's not just about how much you earn. The real secrets lie in understanding a few powerful concepts that completely change the game. Today, we're diving deep into the untold truths of building wealth, from the magic of numbers to the psychology that holds most people back. Stick around, because what you're about to learn could redefine your financial future. Let's start with the undisputed champion of wealth creation: compound interest. Albert Einstein supposedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. And for good reason. Imagine you invest $100 and it earns 10%. You get $10. Next year, you earn 10% not just on your original 100, but on $110. It seems small at first, but over time, this snowball effect becomes an avalanche of growth. The key takeaway? Time is your greatest asset. The earlier you start, even with small amounts, the more powerful compounding becomes. It's a force that works for you 24/7, turning your money into more money. But here's the thing, understanding the math is easy. The hard part is managing the one thing that can derail it all: your own mind. That's why I've brought in two incredible experts for a discussion on the psychology of investing. Please welcome Dr. Anya Sharma, a renowned behavioral economist, and David Chen, a seasoned financial advisor who's guided hundreds of clients. Welcome, both of you. Dr. Sharma, let's start with you. Why do so many smart people make irrational financial decisions? And that's where herd mentality kicks in, right, David? So Dr. Sharma, how can we fight these primal instincts? David, what's your number one piece of advice for new investors feeling overwhelmed by fear? Thank you both for those invaluable insights. Creating a system and having a plan: simple, yet incredibly powerful advice. Now let's talk about a concept that trips up many people: the non-linear nature of wealth building. We're used to linear progress. You work an hour, you get paid for an hour, but wealth doesn't grow like that. For the first 5, maybe even 10 years, your investment portfolio might feel like it's barely moving. You're putting in the work, saving diligently, but the growth is slow. This is the boring phase where most people give up. They think, this isn't working, but they're quitting right before the magic happens. The growth curve of wealth is an exponential one. It starts flat and then it rockets upward. Your first $100,000 is the hardest, but the second 100,000 comes faster. Your first million might take 15 years, but your second could take just 5. Understanding this helps you stay the course during those early, slow years. Of course, the journey looks different for everyone, and generational factors play a huge role. Baby boomers, for instance, entered a job market with pensions and benefited from a multi-decade housing and stock market boom. Gen X had a rockier start, dealing with recessions and the dot-com bust, but many still caught the wave of rising asset prices. Millennials and Gen Z, however, face a different landscape. We're dealing with student loan debt, stagnant wages relative to inflation, and a much more challenging housing market. And that brings us to the housing market. For previous generations, buying a home was a cornerstone of wealth building. It acted as a forced savings plan, and property values saw incredible appreciation. Today, for many young people, that path is much harder. High prices and interest rates have made homeownership feel out of reach. This isn't to say it's impossible, but it does mean that younger generations need to be more creative and strategic. It might mean focusing more heavily on stock market investments, exploring real estate investment trusts, or considering different housing models like co-living or starting with a smaller property. The game has changed, and so our strategies must adapt. Now for a fascinating concept. I call the acceleration effect. Once you reach a certain level of financial stability, let's call it escape velocity, your ability to build wealth accelerates dramatically. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, every dollar is for survival. But once your investments start generating enough income to cover your basic living expenses, a powerful shift occurs. You're no longer trading your time for money in the same way. You have the freedom to take calculated risks. You can invest in a startup, take a lower-paying job with higher growth potential, or spend 6 months developing a skill that will double your income later. This freedom is the ultimate accelerant. Your money starts working for you, creating opportunities that were simply unavailable before. The goal isn't just to accumulate a pile of cash. It's to reach this point of acceleration where your financial growth becomes self-sustaining and exponential. So, what does this all mean for you right now? Let's boil it down to some practical takeaways. First, start investing today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Even if it's just $20. Open a low-cost index fund account and automate your contributions. Make it a non-negotiable part of your budget. Second, create a simple, written financial plan. What are you saving for? What's your timeline? This will be your guide. Third, embrace the boredom. Understand that the first few years will be slow. Don't check your portfolio every day. Trust the process and let compound interest do its heavy lifting. Finally, focus on increasing your income. The faster you can increase the gap between what you earn and what you spend, the more fuel you can pour onto your investment fire, and the faster you'll reach that acceleration point. Ultimately, building wealth is about constructing a mental model. It's not a set of rigid rules, but a way of thinking. See your savings not as a sacrifice, but as buying your future freedom. View market downturns not as a crisis, but as a sale. Understand that the path isn't a straight line, but an exponential curve. When you adopt this mindset, you stop fighting against the current and start using these powerful forces to your advantage. You shift from being a passive consumer to an active architect of your financial destiny. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this has given you a new perspective on what it truly takes to build lasting wealth. If you found this valuable, please give this video a like and subscribe for more content to help you master your money and your life. I'll see you in the next one.